Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 GMO achievement run. At this point you know the drill, we're going through all the GMO achievements in order. Let's see what's next. It is the Loud and the Pacifist. Okay, so this one could be very difficult, because Loud increases the number of enemies on the field a lot, which is going to make it a lot harder to dodge appropriately with our Pacifist build. Without being able to kill all the enemies, we won't be getting as much money, and I've seen conflicting reports on whether enemy amount is good for Pacifist. In other words, whether despawned enemies count for the Pacifist passive. I guess we're about to find out, because the Loud is going to give us a lot of extra enemies, and so if we aren't getting extra money from the Pacifist, then we know it doesn't work with despawning enemies. The minus harvesting is also hugely painful, because that's where a lot of our income is supposed to come from on the Pacifist, because you start with, you want to use hands usually on the Pacifist, so it's going to be really interesting to see if we can make that work. I think I will start by trying a Pacifist build. If that doesn't work, I will try doing a damage build, and we'll just play a Loud with minus 70% damage and see if we can make that one function. So we're going to start off with a hand and see if we can try to get that going. I have no idea if that will work. Whoa, that's a weird looking character. We do actually want to hit enemies, because you get more, despite the Pacifist passive, you get more money from killed enemies than you do from surviving enemies. So we do want to hit enemies, and if we hit them enough times at this level, they do die, so we get a little bit of extra materials that way. Alright, so we got 15 at the end of the wave, and we lost all our harvesting, but we'll pick up some harvesting, and then hopefully I can just find enough hands that we can get ahead of the harvesting loss just by buying support weapons. For that reason, I'm going to buy the pruner as well, just to try to max out our support tag as quickly as possible. We'll lock the peaceful bee, and I'll roll and buy a pruner, and I'll roll and lock a hand and a pruner. Alright, so that'll get us to 6 support weapons. So now we're out in front of the Loud's harvesting loss, at least, so that's a pretty big bonus for us. Finding 4 support weapons in the first shop is pretty nice. Obviously, we're not going to stick with these pruners for too long, because we do want to be able to use the knockback from the hands. Although they're not terrible, they do give us quite a lot of healing. And their attack range does mean we're actually able to kill a lot of enemies in the early game here. So we made quite a lot of money on this level, but that will presumably fall behind pretty quickly. Notice we lost 3 harvesting, but gained 2. So we lost 3 harvesting. I guess we lost the harvesting before we gained the harvesting, because we had 23, so we lost 3 down to 20, and then gained 5% of that, not rounded up, because we were only at 20. Now we're up to 21. So this is an interesting sort of deep lore mechanic about how this combination works at exactly the 20 mark. But I'm just going to roll for more harvesting, just to, again, try to stay ahead of the curve on losing our harvesting. One more roll. We didn't hit that, but I'll just take some speed. I don't want to spend too much there, because I want to be able to afford these support weapons as much as possible. And then I think I will just take the peaceful bee. I could roll for higher leveled weapons, and we do want those to get more harvesting on our hands, but peaceful bee just gives me some harvesting again right off the start, and then I can roll for weapons here. I'll take the metal or I'll lock the metal and roll again. Pruner, I'm not going to lock. I want to find hands if I can, but unfortunately I did miss there. Pass on defective steroids, even though it's 2 HP. Yeah, so at this level, the pruners can still kill stuff, because we have some % damage. Maybe I should actually keep some pruners for the healing, because we can kill stuff with them. But without the knockback, we're taking a lot of hits, so I do have to be a little careful there. A normal Pacifist build at this stage would have plus 50 harvesting, but we at least are getting a lot of money from the passive. I should have run up and killed the tree there. I will take this luck, because luck is not great on the Pacifist, but still pretty useful, and it's a level 2 upgrade. And then I don't want any of this. Just take armor, or I could roll for harvesting. We're guaranteed a level 2 upgrade here, so I'm going to try to roll for +8 harvesting. Do one more roll again. Missed, but I'll take the max HP. Metal is going to be pretty good, and then I will take Lost Duck or roll for more hands. I do really want to level up these hands as soon as I can, because leveling them up, or buying more and leveling up more means more harvesting. All right, here's a level 2 hand. That's perfect. I'll just combine these pruners and get the level 2 hand, lock the fertilizer. Oh, I should have just bought the fertilizer, actually. That was clearly a mistake. The level 2 hand just gives me +3 harvesting. The fertilizer's +8. Obviously, that was a bad play. Although the extra knockback will be useful. It is interesting playing a pacifist with like some damage so we can kill stuff. I put myself in a really bad spot there. You never want to get cornered by the crowd on the pacifist, because you always want to be out ahead of them so they're all coming at you from the same direction, and your knockback can keep the group under control. Let's try to kill that tree. That luck we got coming in handy there is pretty nice. Glasses I will just recycle. We don't really care about range. And then I'm just going to take the 5 harvesting. Again, we're just trying to stay ahead of the harvesting penalty. Some attack speed on this character isn't terrible because the knockback is pretty useful, but I think I'm just going to roll for defensive stats or harvesting. See if I can set a record for the number of times I say harvesting in a single recording, which for me would be an achievement. Do I want the Lost Duck here? I think not badly enough to spend money on it. Do I want to upgrade my pruner? I think not. I think we are still just going to go to all hands. So I will just buy the helmet there, buy the coupon, buy the bag. Weird Ghost. We currently have very little healing, but we do have the 2 pruners, so I think I can safely buy Weird Ghost. I might just die here, which would be very funny, but I think the Weird Ghost will be able to, or the pruners will be able to keep me alive. With no, without killing enemies and with no sort of regeneration, I do have to dodge pretty well this level while I wait for the consumables to respawn. But Weird Ghost is very efficient. Oop, I walked right into that enemy. Weird Ghost is very efficient, and it's not like we need to play aggressively because we're the pacifist, so we can get away with just staying away from enemies. We don't have to like play into them. On a character that actually wanted to kill enemies, it would be worse to have picked up the Weird Ghost there, because you would have to move towards enemies, which makes it harder to dodge. But on the pacifist, where you're just running away and knocking them back, I felt reasonably safe we could survive on wave 5 there, and indeed we could. Alright, do I want armor or dodge here? I think I'm going to go with dodge. It's really important to get your dodge high, so I'm just going to start building that immediately. Gentle Alien, so I don't think we need more enemies on the field. And the 2 max HP, I don't know if that's worth 50, so I think I am going to pass on the Gentle Alien. Lifesteal is pretty useful on this character, because you will always be attacking. So I could go with the Razor Blade, but losing speed is pretty bad. The White Flag would increase our harvesting and reduce the number of enemies. I don't think we care about reducing the number of enemies that much, so I might actually White Flag. And I'm just going to go ahead and sell this pruner for the hand. I don't think I'm going to buy White Flag, though. I will buy Coffee. A little bit of attack speed is good, and Coffee is just really good at giving you attack speed, and Bag, and Broken Mouth. Now I have really no healing, so I am not going to buy the Weird Ghost. But I will buy the plant, and I will roll again. And do I want Spicy Sauce, just for a little bit of health? It's so inefficient. It's such a bad way to buy max HP. I'm not going to. This is a hard wave for this character because the charging aliens are immune to knockback. And I don't yet have enough move speed to reliably stay all the way in front of them. But if I can basically cut corners through the group and move around, then we can only take a couple hits this wave. And unfortunately, bad dodging there by me, so I am a little bit behind on hit points. I'm trying to describe tight circles in the middle of the arena so that we don't have to tank hits, and then I'm trying to make sure to play around that garden. I can take one more hit without dying. Alright, we made it. That was a rough one, but I did make it through. I'm going to... I want both this speed and this regeneration, but I think I need healing at this point. We're starting to really fall behind on that, and we'll take armor, we'll take more armor, we'll roll. This one pruner actually did save me in that last level, so it was very nice to have that. Hit the cake here. Bat is kind of interesting, because again, lifesteal is not terrible on this character. It cost me a little harvesting, but I think maybe I'm supposed to take it. And then I will take the mushroom and the fertilizer and roll again, lock another mushroom, and blindfold is 5% dodge for 80, which is definitely worth it. I'd love to find like a garden instead of this pruner so that we could max out on hands. If I could level up these hands more, it's just more money. Although at this stage in the game, it's late enough that maybe I don't even need to max out on hands. So there's enough enemies on the field that I think if we are getting pacifist money from the despawned enemies, we should see income somewhere in the like 400 range. So I'm interested to see what our income at the end of the wave is. Because now we're late enough in the game, there's just enough enemies, they're all despawning. You can see it happening visibly. Okay, yeah, so I think we are getting money from the despawned enemies. So I should have taken Gentle Alien. Like I said, I've seen conflicting reports on whether that works or not, so I'm curious about that. But we made so much money this wave that I think we definitely are. I'm going to re-roll here. I could take 2 regeneration, but I think we can do better. And yeah, 9 max HP is perfect. Take the mushroom, the blindfold, and the warrior helmet. So that's great. I definitely could use like a fairy or something like that, because our regeneration is still pretty behind. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with where this build is at. Incendiary turret won't do anything. We can upgrade our hand here. I think just getting an upgraded hand and keeping the level 2. And then I will just buy 5 max HP for 96, I think, on the little muscly dude. Another tough wave because another group of enemies that are knockback immune. Would really love to see some move speed. I've just decreased my move speed quite a bit because I bought a helmet and I bought the warrior helmet. So even though I had found some move speed items, which are critical for this character, we were not able to keep our move speed high. Just too many items that reduce your move speed. That's always a problem in Brotato. There's so many good items that reduce your move speed that keeping it high is quite difficult. I'm really liking having this garden that I can go back to. But because there's so many enemies behind us, right, the chances of enemies actually appearing in front of us are low. So that's how you tend to want to play Pacifist, is rotate around all the enemies. I'll recycle this energy bracelet, and I'll just take the level 2 regen here. Oh, okay, well, I guess we found the 2 best possible items we could have found. Ugly Tooth and Fairy are both perfect for this character, increasing our regeneration to a pretty significant level and giving us the slowing effect for bosses. Also note that our harvesting is growing because we are now at a point where we're just past we're getting more every level than the loud is decreasing it, so that's pretty nice for us. Whetstone cost me 3 knockback, which is definitely a downside on this character, but that's only 10% of our 30 knockback, so I'm still pretty happy to buy Whetstone. And it's also why I don't think you should buy Boxing Glove, like even on this character, just because the difference between 30 and 33 knockback is just not significant. We will also, of course, buy Alien Magic. It's a lot of stats we want. I should also keep a lookout for level 1 items that I don't have. I don't think Injection is worth buying. -2 max HP for 1 regen I don't think is worth it, but whenever you have Fairy, of course, you should look out for unique level 1 items. Now, this is typically a very difficult wave for Pacifists, because there's so many enemies that they will spawn ahead of you, and the entity cap on wave 9 is higher. So in Brotato, there's an entity cap on the number of enemies that can be on the field at a time. In wave 9, it's higher. because it's the Horde wave, so there can just be more enemies on the field. And of course, since we're the Loud as well as the Pacifist, we are seeing a lot of enemies appear on the field at this stage. This is going to be the perfect test. So if you have a reasonable amount of clear speed on wave 9, you should end up with about 500 in the bank after the wave is over. And we have like 100 harvesting. So if all these enemies are despawning, we should still end up with about 500 in the bank. Yeah, so we're definitely getting money from the despawning enemies because we got 700 after that wave with only 80 harvesting. So that's good to know, good to confirm how that works, and also very good for this character combination. Bait, I am not going to take. That's just too dangerous. The lampreys would eventually despawn, and I would grab it if I had more move speed, but with only minus 2% move speed, I don't think it's worth taking. And I'd grab it just to have the extra income next wave, but we can get more money than that by recycling it anyways. We'll take the dodge here, and then, wow, this could not be a better find. The 12% speed is, of course, incredible. And then I will take the whetstone just to give us a little bit more healing, and the alien magic for even more. Lemonade is cheap, gives me a regeneration off fairy, and also just increases my consumable healing from the pruner, so that's pretty nice. Metal is really good as well, just gives us a lot of the stats we want. And then let's roll again. I could buy Sharp Bullet for 1 regeneration. I'm not going to buy White Flag, because now we know how the Pacifist works. But now I'm up to 9% lifesteal. This character will lifesteal sometimes. It's not going to be a huge amount of healing, but any little bit you get on this character helps a lot, so it's worth picking up. Sharp Bullet is basically buying 1 regeneration. I don't think we need that, actually. And then I am just going to upgrade to the level 3 pruner. I've really liked having this garden around, so the level 3 version is going to be better. I will buy this, and then lock the duct tape because armor is still really good. Do I want a lemonade even though I already have one? That's a more interesting choice, but I think I do because I have this pruner, so lemonade is still a reasonable amount of burst healing. Weird food costs me 2 dodge, but gives me a regeneration, and move speed is great, so we'll pick up all 3 of those items. This wave is tough, actually, because the enemies are slow, so you kind of want slightly faster enemies so they can start grouping up, because once they group up, they'll stop spawning as much in front of you, because the enemies spawn slower when you're at the entity cap. So this way we can keep all the enemies behind us instead of in front of us. There we go. My guy would not attack that tree. Alright, I do want to rotate back through and hit that tree, but we're doing fine, and my healing is keeping up pretty well with the incoming damage. Not incredibly, but well enough. I could use some more attack speed, actually, because we're not knocking back these enemies quite as fast as I'd like, but we're still able to clear the wave and make 500 at the end of the wave. Do I want attack speed more or regeneration more? I think I actually do just want the 15% attack speed. It's also, we've got lifesteal, so the attack speed helps. We'll take all of these for some more regeneration and all the bonuses of those items, and then I will roll here. I'm not going to buy 3 HP for 90. I don't think that's just too expensive. I will roll, and landmines is worth 1 regen. Doesn't do anything else, of course. But is 1 regen worth 40? It probably is. I think that's fine. We just want to hit a critical mass of regeneration. Shady Potion I will pass on. Hand I will take so we can upgrade our harvesting a little bit more. Stone Skin is worth 10 HP. Reduces my armor a little bit, but also makes this metal plate better, which I unfortunately can't quite afford, but that's still really good for us down the line, increasing our max HP. So now the only thing I really need is just dodge. More armor, of course, is great, and our move speed is fine. I could use a little bit more, but dodge is really the only stat that I feel like we're missing at this stage. Alright, wave 11 is going to be tough. just as usual on Pacifist because of the rib cages. Even with the knockback from the hands, we will eventually start taking damage from these guys, and the slashes from the elite will start catching us or making my dodging a little bit harder. The rib cages mostly just constrain your movement. We always have to keep moving in the same direction, which is going to make it harder to dodge the elite's slashes. So I'm going to start taking hits. But we have enough armor that I'm only taking 10 damage from a hit from them. And we have tons of regeneration, so I'm not actually that worried. I was a little concerned that we would be taking way more damage per slash, but the elites do less damage. Every enemy does less damage with their ranged attacks than if you actually step on the enemy itself. So we're taking reduced damage, and then we've got a lot of armor. Making less money these waves, though, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Do I actually just want some harvesting to try to mitigate that? I think I kind of do. Terrified Onion reduces my luck, but it's still good. We just want more move speed. Tree is great. Metal Detector, I will still take, I think, just for 6 luck. No, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we can't benefit from the Metal Detector material pickup buff, so we're not going to make money off of it. Scar for bonus XP, it's a little late for as well. I don't think we'll get a level out of it. And I'd rather just roll for things that are more important to us right now. More harvesting is still good even at this late stage, so I will continue to upgrade these hands. But I am going to hang on to this pruner. The pruner's been serving me very well. And then rerolls are getting expensive, so let's go to the next wave. Just the guaranteed consumable healing when we have so much consumable healing. Or the guaranteed consumable when we have so much consumable healing, because we have 2 lemonades and a weird food. Means that I will always have some burst healing available, which is pretty useful in these scenarios. Wave 12 shouldn't be that bad. We can just avoid all these enemies. And it's like the fast horde enemies who just follow us in a straight line. The enemies that are really dangerous to the Pacifist are the ones that charge you or put up barriers in your way, like the tentacles that we're going to start seeing next level. But the enemies that just follow you in a straight line, if you have sufficient move speed, are really not that dangerous, because they'll pretty much always be behind you. Yeah, I'll just take more move speed so we can stay ahead, and we'll slow enemies down. More mushrooms, sure. And we will roll. Let's upgrade this hand and roll. Regeneration potion, obviously, that's an incredible find for us, giving us just a massive safety net. And then do I want the blood leech? I think I do. It's still a reasonable amount of healing, so we'll pick that up. Haven't found any dodge, but we've found move speed and we've found enough regeneration that we will heal back up from almost any injury before we can suffer another one, which is what you want on this character. I think we're running like a little over curve, but since Loud does work with the Pacifist passive, I think this is actually a much easier run than I thought it was. You just have to find enough harvesting to get ahead of the Loud debuff, I guess, is the challenge. And we did get a little bit lucky on finding 4 support weapons in the first shop. But I think you can pretty quickly get to the point where you're gaining harvesting if you just roll for support weapons early. I think that should be quite reliable. Alright, 500 income, and I'll grab some more armor and max HP. I guess I'll still take another bag. Bags obviously are much worse on this character because we're not killing enemies, but it just needs to trigger 4 times, and we have a tree. Maybe that's not right. I think here, so I could lose 3 harvesting to combine these 2 hands and buy another level 3 pruner. I think that's going to be better than... It cost me 3 harvesting because we combined 2 6s into a 9, but The second garden is going to be pretty nice, so I think I will just grab that. And then, alright, we'll combine 2 9s into an 18, so we actually gain 3 harvesting this way. It's important with hand to know when you're gaining harvesting and when you're losing harvesting. Am I okay? Oh, obviously, I was mistaking which, whether this was handcuffs or shackles. Obviously, we don't want the melee damage or anything, but I'll take the wings. More move speed is pretty nice, and we're now at 36%. So now I should very easily be able to stay ahead of enemies, but Wave 14 is still quite dangerous for the Pacifist in a way that you might not expect. Because enemies despawn on the Pacifist, and when these despawn, they count as dying for the purposes of summoning. So you will not be able to stop the goobers from being summoned, and you won't be able to clear them. So we're going to end up with a lot of projectiles. The Pacifist seems like it should be pretty easy on Wave 14 because you just don't kill the slugs, but instead it's actually a really difficult wave for this character. Now we do have the benefit that the goobers are also despawning, and because this is a Horde Wave 14, we are actually, I think this is actually easier because it's a Horde wave, because the Horde aliens, a higher percentage of the enemies that spawn are the Horde aliens and not the goobers, so there were just fewer slugs and goobers on the map since we were just despawning stuff. If this actually wasn't a Horde, I think that wave would have been harder for us because there'd just be more projectiles. Gummy Berserker we definitely don't want, even though it gives us a regeneration, and bandana is useless, of course. I'll take some max HP here, that's fine. Let me upgrade my hands and buy the blindfold, going back up to 33% dodge. Tardigrade, not terribly useful for this character because we are going to take lots of hits. We're worried about taking lots of hits, not one hit, and we have so much healing that one hit we will just heal back up anyways. Alien Worm, I think I will take. It's worth 3 regeneration. Do I have a Lost Duck already? I don't, so I'll take that too and just boost my regeneration. Alien Worm obviously does decrease our consumable healing, which is painful for the pruners, but it's worth 3 regeneration and 3 max HP, so I think it's still worth picking up. Hand, yes, and then this is getting expensive, so let's go to the next wave. Basically, you just want to pull the enemies from one side of the map to the other, so we're pulling them all over to the left here. And then you want to transition to the other side of the map, and then you want to continue to just move in a square. This is the goal with Pacifist. If you ever really get in trouble, you can hug the edge of the map so that enemies are always coming from the same direction. And if you're on PC and have manual targeting enabled, then you can target ahead of you at like a 45-degree angle as you're running, and that will push enemies out of the way as you're running. So that can give you a little bit of extra safety, although as your move speed increases, it gets a little bit harder because you'll run into the enemies, like you'll push the enemies away and then run into them anyways because you'll just catch up to the move speed. So you will, in the late game, because you do want move speed, in the late game you're going to want to also have the regeneration to deal with any hits you might take. I'll take 3 armor here, which is also 3 max HP, and then 6 armor, which is 6 max HP. More move speed, and I will roll. I do think I still want some attack speed, so I'll take the coffee, and I will take the defective steroids. We have so much regeneration, I'll take the blood donation as well. Basically, we get 4 ticks out of it, so it will kind of pay for itself, but more importantly, it just gives me like some extra harvesting as we're losing harvesting. And then nothing here that I want. Let's roll one more time. I could take the fertilizer. I think that won't be worth it in terms of purchasing here. I'll just take the whetstone and go to the next wave. I'm curious if the last bag will have paid for itself. I think it will have, because we bought it for 60, and we've already gotten like 3 crates since then. Ah, come on. That was the perfect time to give me the ability to say 4 crates in a really self-satisfied tone. And then the game just took it away from me. Alright, we're going to pick up the defective steroids just for the max HP. Harvesting from levels I don't really need at this point. We have plenty. I'll roll again, and I'll take armor over speed here. 40 move speed is plenty. Recycling machine will never pay for itself on this character, so I'm not going to bother. I could go to a level 4 pruner and buy this level 2. I think I will. Just try to get more fruits on the ground. This is like slightly fewer total, but I think will still be good for us. Peaceful Bee is good for dodge, so I'll take that, and then I will roll Blindfold and Plant and Mushroom, just even more healing. And Metal. Cute Monkey, I don't have one of yet, so that's a regeneration if I want it. Dusty Fedora doesn't do anything for this character. Do I want the regeneration from Cute Monkey? I guess I probably do, even though it won't heal me from consumables that much. And then Bat is 2% lifesteal. I think I'll pass on that. We've already got one. Slow the enemy with some attack, or slow the elite with some attacks, because we have the Ugly Tooth. Best in slot item for the Pacifist. The buffed rib cages are so fast and do so much damage that it's pretty hard to stay ahead of them, but eventually they'll despawn, is the nice thing about playing Pacifist. And because I have plus 40% move speed, I can stay ahead of them. This is why it's so important to build move speed on this character. There's another crate. And can we get another? Nope. Game doing me dirty on the... These are such easy setups for one-liners. And yet... With 5 seconds remaining, I dive through the pile there to try to get those 2 trees, which once again fail to give me any crates. When it's free like this, I'll take the sharp bullet, or not free, it cost me 22, but that's worth spending on 1 regeneration. Then we'll take more armor so that we don't die. Interesting. So this pruner could have gotten me to another level 4 pruner. Do I want to sell out of... I think I'm just going to sell the level 2 hand for another pruner. It will stay as support weapons, but this just gives me more healing on the field. Another metal. We found a lot of these, which is great. And then I will... no, medical turret, because we have the engineering penalty. There's no point in taking that. Broken Mouth, sure. Whetstone, sure. Now, my knockback is starting to get lower. I've gotten minus 12 knockback because I've bought 4 whetstones. So the knockback on these is definitely significantly decreased, just down to only 18. But that's still enough to push enemies away, and I'm really not that worried about needing knockback, where now we've transitioned to just being a tank instead of actually having to push enemies away because of our massive healing. I do want more dodge, though, but I will take shackles. We're fine capping our speed at 46. That's plenty. I mean, that's way more than enough. And the 8 regeneration will be pretty useful. But between the lifesteal, the regeneration potion, the sheer amount of regeneration I have, I'm pretty happy to just continue to decrease my knockback at this point. The knockback is really for getting you through the early game and keeping the rib cages off you, but you don't need a ton for that. And we're now fast enough that we outpace most enemies. Like, we will outpace every enemy except the rib cage. So even these buffed chargers are not gonna get us. Oh, have to kill that tree. I did take a bunch of damage to dive in and get the tree, but that was obviously worth it, and we never went below like 120 health, so I think we're fine. Take more armor here. I keep being offered just like more armor when I want dodge. I'm going to recycle this pruner and just buy the leveled up pruner. I think that gives us more survivability than anything else I could do. And then we will level up the hand. I guess I want that before adrenaline just for the slight extra income. And book, I don't have one. It's worth a regeneration, so I'll buy it. It might seem odd to spend like 50 on one regeneration, but regeneration is all about hitting a critical mass so that you heal up in between taking damage. So basically, the higher the better. And as you get more of it, each individual point gets better as well, because it makes it more likely that you will be fully healed by the time you take another hit. That's a simplification, but from a strategic perspective, if you think of it that way, it'll be just a good heuristic that regeneration makes more regeneration better. Just pathing through here and easily surviving these waves with pretty significant income as well. Let's roll here. I'd like to find some dodge if I can. One more roll. Getting really expensive, but sure. Oh no, our move speed is capped. Wow, none of these stats are useful at all. Do I spend 55 trying to get something good? Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, okay, great. We did at least find some dodge. Spending 200 on 5 dodge there. I mean, I'm about to spend 200 more on 5 dodge, so that's actually a totally reasonable trade. Ritual gives me lifesteal, but I think we're just rolling for dodge, basically. Charcoal, I don't think we have one, so I could buy a regeneration from that. Propeller hat, do I have one of those? I could buy a regeneration. I think I'm still just rolling for more dodge. Because that's the only thing that'll really help keep us alive. I guess I can buy the razor blade for plus lifesteal. That can help me keep me alive against the boss. And then, oh, the Giant's Belt, if I'd had a little more crit chance, that actually could have been good. I really just wanted to hit dodge cap here. We didn't manage to. Claw Tree will get me 1 regeneration for -1 HP. That's probably worth it. So I think that's better than re-rolling, because we wouldn't have been able to get anything useful out of it anyways. Giant's Belt's a way that the Pacifist can actually kill elites, which is kind of fun. If we'd found that earlier, we could have built around it. Just want to find the gap in the circle every time. I failed to that time, but it's okay. And these pruners have been all-stars, honestly. I'm really glad I kept the pruner. For one thing, it completely saved my life on wave, like, 7 or whatever it was. And for another, it's just been a very helpful feature to have. And we're gonna continue to work our way around in circles. Just dodging through all this, although I could probably go AFK and just regenerate through all the incoming damage. I think the elite damage would eventually overtake me, but we're pretty close to being able to just take our hands off the keyboard. Alright, and we did it, and we got the picket sign. So, minus 20% damage, plus 2 luck for every permanent minus 5% damage we have. So if I get my damage as low as possible, we gain luck and armor. There are not many characters that can take a lot of advantage of that. It's very good for the Pacifist, obviously. It's quite good for the Explorer, which starts with a significant damage penalty and really wants luck. But most characters, and I guess like engineering builds can use it for sure, but most characters will not be able to buy this. And even if you buy it on like an engineering build that hasn't specifically built negative damage, you get 4 luck and 1 armor, which is, or 4 luck and 2 armor. Yeah, 4 luck and 2 armor is pretty good actually for an engineering build. So there are definitely some builds that can use the picket sign. It's not gonna come up for a lot of builds, but it's a cool item. I really like these. Like, I like the designs of these items that are interesting for specific builds. I do think that they should tend a little more towards general utility, like the picket sign. But the picket sign is only useful for like a couple classes. But I think that this is a pretty interesting design space to explore for sure. Let's take a look. The bags were worth 270, so they did pay for themselves, but not by a lot. But that's fine. That's just how the Pacifist works. You do still get some money out of the bags. Ugly Tooth obviously was a great find. Like the shop we found Ugly Tooth and Fairy was awesome. The fact that we were able to get 200 harvesting despite being the Loud was obviously excellent. If we weren't the Loud, we'd have ended up with like 1,000 harvesting, just given the items that we found and how the game started with like peaceful bees and fertilizers. But overall, I would say that this was a pretty clean way to play the character. Definitely recommend it if you are struggling with this character combination, which I've seen a couple people saying this is a hard one. So I think that just playing it like a pacifist and focusing in on trying to survive the early game and get enough harvesting is going to get you through it. Alright, my friends, hope you enjoyed this GMO achievement run, and as always, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and like the video, because both of those things help me out with the algorithm, and you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game content. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.